practice on your starting lanes.
Yeah, do this. Yeah. I do like
Bowlers, please hold in practice, over. Ladies and gentlemen, class photography is not permitted during bowling competition. Brunswick, we're ready to begin competition. Bowlers at the sound of the bell, you may begin. Good luck on your bowling.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Matt Canizaro, USBC Open Championships Media Relations Manager, live from the Baton Rouge River Center. We are behind lanes 11 and 12. Today we're going to watch S&B Pro Shop 1 and S&B Pro Shop 2 from Clinton Township, Michigan. Joined today by Emil Williams Jr., and we're just getting set up here as things are getting underway. We're in the first frame. So just take a look, enjoy, sit tight, and we'll have plenty to say for the next 3 hours, so don't go anywhere. folks. So we are settled in, and we're getting ready for an exciting team event here. 230 team squad on the lanes. S&B Pro Shop 1 and 2, Clinton Township, Michigan. Handful of champions on this pair, and some very talented teams nearby, so we'll keep our eyes out. And some familiar faces in the crowd as well, so hopefully somebody will be available to jump on and talk to us today. Once again, Matt Canizaro, USBC Open Championships Media Relations Manager, and Emil Williams Jr. coming in early again today. Emil, what's up?
What's up, boss? How you doing?
All kinds of excitement. I'll tell you what, I don't even know where to start, but let's start with the rundown. Who are we watching today? S&B Pro Shop 1 and 2.
S&B Pro Shop 1 and 2. Leading off, numbering off lane 11. That is S&B Pro Shop 2. Joe Krajenke, 2004 regular team champion, member of that team. Fred Voss, East Point, Michigan, also member of the 2004 regular team champs. Krajenke from Clinton Township, Michigan. Joe Johnson from Warren, Michigan. Jason Lewis from Sterling Heights, and Jay Lane from Sterling Heights, Michigan. Two-time Open Championship finalist, 1997 regular team member, and the 1999 Team All Events champions as well. And then S&B Pro Shop 1. Bill Orlikowski leads things off for them from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Also has an eagle, member of the 1999 Team All Events champions, Nick Wissinger. In the 2-hole from Clinton Township, Mark Moore. In the 3-hole for this squad, member of the 2004 regular team champions, Kerry Kreft, also a 2-time titleist, member of the 1999 Team All Events champs and the 2004 regular team champs. And Dave Ewald rounds things out for this group from Macomb, Michigan, 2004 regular team champion. So, great bowlers from the state of Michigan, experienced at this event, and looking to make another run at a regular team or team all events title.
Now, cool thing about this group, and I wish we saw it more often than we do, especially with my own group, even just trying to get 5 guys to come 1 or 2 years in a row. But we're talking about 10 guys who are pretty much 10 solid. You know, as you mentioned, some 1999 Team All Events titles, Jay Lang, 1997, and then 2004. You know, whether they mix and match them, they kind of switch it up every now and then, I'm sure, based on some PBA membership, stuff like that. But we're looking at the same core group of guys for at least that many years, which is definitely a key to their success here at the Open Championships, besides being extremely talented, of course. But the fact that they have that knowledge of each other's games and the continuity, the camaraderie, you really can't put a price or an extra value on the fact that they know each other so well. They know this event inside and out. They've been here, they've won it. And you're talking about 10 reliable guys. You don't have to worry about who's going to show up when it's time to shoe up.
That's a good point, and I think that's a point that is a thing that most people probably go through. Having 10 guys every year. I know some people who always seem to struggle getting that 9th or 10th person. They might have a group set, and what happens? 1 or 2 people have to miss out for whatever reasons, and they end up having to find a sub, at the last minute, that kind of thing. So, like I say, always good, always important to have 10 solid like that, and almost to travel the country, if you will.
Well, it was almost immediate that I got the opportunity to meet these guys back in 2005 right here at the Baton Rouge River Center. They were, of course, the defending regular team champions. 2004. They took it back in Reno. And, of course, all 5 of them joined us in Baton Rouge in 2005. I had the opportunity to sit down with them before they bowled to get an idea of what the feelings were like. And, of course, our whole process has evolved a little bit since then as far as marching out champions and a little extra special. But that year I got to sit down with them before they bowled, and then again after to talk about the whole deal. What's it like to be the defending champs, and to know that you'll have your whole group back here together, and not just then, but now. So all these years later, and really cool to see these guys still at it, and always a threat at the top of the leaderboard, of course. We've seen them come close in the years since. We actually live streamed one of their teams last year. And in recent years, they've split up. They've been on 2 separate squads for whatever various reasons, but they decided this year they're going to bring all 10 guys back together on the same squad and really give it a go at that team event, breaking the lanes down together, working all together. Of course, when you split your teams like that, you really never know who you're going to get paired up with and what the experience is going to be like. But here you have 10 very close guys, good friends. 9 of them are actually able to practice together as well leading into this event. So about the tightest knit group, I could say. Besides, of course, a Jeff Riggles type group, Turbo 2-in-1 grips, 1 and 2. Those guys very close, practice a lot as well, and pretty much 10 solid every year. And I think that will definitely come into play today. We'll talk a little bit more later in the broadcast about their strategies and how they got ready for this event this year. But here they are, all 10, all together. All right, so we're all set here. Let's take a look up at the scoreboard once again. Who we're dealing with today: S&B Pro Shop 1, Clinton Township, Michigan. 2 very talented teams, as you can see. 7 Eagles up on the scoreboard. That, of course, signifying a championship here at the USBC Open Championships. That, of course, the main goal of most of our 60,000 plus bowlers to come here and see that orange eagle next to your name on the scoreboard. Joe Krajenke, Fred Boss, Kerry Kreft, Dave Ewald, Mark Moore, of course, all members of that 2004 regular team champion. Jay Lang adding 1997 and 99 titles in there. Orlikowski, 99 team all events. Orlikowski also with an 800 series on the championship lane. So these guys very accomplished in various levels of this tournament. And very excited to be back on the live stream today and have an opportunity to showcase their skills and make another run here in 2012.
Again, one of the most talented groups we'll have on our live stream cameras this year. More talented groups to compete at the Open Championships year in and year out as well. Always bound to make some noise at not only here but at the Bowlers Journal as well. Used to doing that, so they usually come get a 2-for-1, as does everyone else, of course.
Well, I believe I saw a Facebook post from Robin Orlikowski yesterday about potentially taking the lead in mixed doubles over at the Bowlers Journal. We have not verified that, but I find that to be very possible, as talented as she is. Of course, the wife of Billy Orlikowski, formerly Robin Crawford from Team Canada, and a national champion at Moorhead State. So she knows what she's doing on the lanes as well, and she bowled last night in the team event, doubled the singles earlier today, and I believe they cracked the top 10 in team all events and just missed the top 10 in the regular team event. But Robin in the building today. Perhaps she'll have the opportunity to stop by later and talk with us. Another talented group at the Bowlers Journal today. Already heard from them, Shannon O'Keefe and Brian O'Keefe, and they'll be on the lanes this weekend. So they're over at the Bowlers Journal right now, trying to take their run, add a couple extra bucks, and to get warmed up before they head over here. And actually just to the left of our live stream pair today, Rory Holland. He's my bowling buddy from back at USBC headquarters in Greendale. He used to work in the research and development side of things at USBC, has since moved on. But it was his job to get me acclimated to USBC life, Wisconsin life. Teach me the ways of the bowling world in the great Midwest. Did a great job. Good to see him back here today. He is also very capable, also pretty good scores, and he was very proud to show off his Sport 300 ring today. Said that's a pretty proud moment for him. And he is wearing that right now. Which gives us the opportunity for a quick reminder. The USBC Open Championships is sport certified. And some very cool sport awards we don't want you to miss out on. So when you come to bowl the Open Championships, if you are not already a USBC Sport member, feel free to stop by the check-in counter and upgrade your membership for just $15. And that will make you eligible for all of those cool sport awards. Should you happen to shoot some sort of honor score on the Open Championships lanes, just ask Matt McNeil all about that. Mr. McNeil shot 299 and 806. In 2010 was not a USBC Sport member, but he absolutely remembered to upgrade his membership prior to taking the lanes in his title defense in 2011, and lo and behold, a 300 game and 822 series on the live stream, and some very cool sport awards coming his way, so don't miss out. Of course, for more information on that and so much more, check out bowl.com anytime. I believe Mr. Emil Williams Jr. recently upgraded his membership. He is now a proud sport member.
I am. Only because I did not compete in a sport league this year, as I have in the past couple. So, the only way to do that, of course, is to upgrade, as Matt mentioned. It's also good to just compete in the sport league. That way you're more than ready when you hit the lanes at the Open Championships. Matt also seems to know everybody, which is not uncommon for him because he knows a lot of people. It doesn't surprise me that he happens to know one person a pair over from who we're watching tonight. But coincidentally, I actually know two people on that pair too. How about that?
How about that?
It's like Mikey Hill and Steve Lemke. Competed with against those gentlemen back in our youth days. Very good players there. Mikey went to Vincennes and then to Robert Morris University in Chicago. I believe Steve went to, I wonder where Steve went to. I want to say Whitewater, but I don't think that's true. But just know they're pretty good.
Speaking of pretty good, Mr. Williams, here's a first of the year. Gail Myers, I'm tongue-tied, I can't even talk. We got some bowling royalty in the room today. Gail Myers Jr. checking in for the first time this year, I believe. And he said, hello, Matt. Hello, Emil.
What's happening, Gail? How are you?
So you can tell it's getting close to the time we're going to see those guys. May, action-packed here at the Open Championships. A lot of excitement, a lot of live stream action coming your way, including Mr. Myers and his defending champion, Turbo 2-in-1 grips. If you'd like to check out more about our live stream schedule, check out bowl.com on the main page down on the right side. We give you everything coming up in general. And if you want to see the Open Championships live stream schedule, you can check out the rules and information box on the Open Championships page. some of our regulars as well. Dave Armstrong checking in. We'll have him on the live stream in May as well. And Dave, I will sit by Bowling Ball Express waiting for that very special package to come my way. Much appreciated there. Definitely owe you guys when you're in town. But let's get back to the action. Here, once again, 2012 USBC Open Championships. Matt Canizaro and Emil Williams behind lanes 11 and 12. S&B Pro Shop 1 and 2. And a lot of strikes up on the board early here in game number 1. Let's talk a little bit about the strategy that we're going to see today. I got the chance to sit down with Billy Orlikowski and Kerry Kreft prior to their squad this afternoon. And 9 of the gentlemen, minus Orlikowski, had the opportunity to practice all together multiple times. So they went out there and they tested some different strategies where they were going to play. Generally, the idea this year has been to have everybody start out around 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that general area. All play them together with a little bit of surface, break them down. The idea there, of course, is to break down the outside part of the lane and create a little bit of area, and at the same time preserve the middle so that you have somewhere to go. As the lanes start to break down, you can creep a little bit left, and if you don't start in the middle, then you haven't destroyed it too bad. That's the idea there. So everybody's going to start right and creep in. Now Billy, of course, had the chance to put down the lane condition in his neck of the woods, and the folks communicated very well, talked about what they were seeing out there, where to play, where to start, how to break them down. And simply put, again, the key is to play them together. You want to create a shot, a strategy, manage the environment. I don't know, a lot of discussion about that. But that's kind of the idea of having companion teams out there. I mean, that's kind of what it's all about. It's a team event, work together to do the best you can, and these guys happen to be very good at it, so we're going to see that. And what we don't want to see is easy spares being missed. Of course, if you're going to succeed at the highest level, not only do you want to make great shots and throw a lot of strikes, but spares very, very important.
Spare shooting, of course, key at any tournament, but definitely at this tournament, at this level. Spares can be the deciding factor. Move up a couple of spots, make a few extra bucks. Difference between winning and losing. Things are going quite well for both groups, or both lanes, I should say. But some trouble for S&B Pro Shop 2 here in the 5th.
So it started out very, very promising. Bit of a hiccup there. Just looked up on the scoreboard, saw 4 dashes. So besides having the opportunity to see this lane condition at their home bowling centers, Billy Orlikowski also had the opportunity to talk to Nick Heilman from up in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Of course, that name, if you're not from the Midwest, possibly not all that familiar to you. But let's have Emil tell you a little bit more about Nick and his teammates.
Well, Nick Heilman, part of Nicholas J's Pro Shop 2. Currently the regular team leaders here at the Open Championship with 3401. And their companion team, Nicholas J's Pro Shop, still sitting in 3rd with 3204. at the time. They were 1-2. And now Nicholas J. Pro Shop 1 has just dipped down one spot to third, but 2 teams in the top 3 here at the tournament. And Nick instrumental, not only with his performance on the lanes, but with the game plan and the preparation for both teams prior to their trip to Baton Rouge. So you get an opportunity to talk with him. Of course, that could definitely be an advantage for this squad here.
Well, some very similar equipment choices. Orlikowski and his crew, or Orlikowski at least, works for Brunswick. So a number of them do have some Brunswick bowling balls, but Billy talked to him more for his own benefit, talked about what he threw, how it worked, talked more about the team strategy, where they played, you know, things like that, and reported that information back to his own team. So we'll see how that turns out today. But Billy lives 180 miles from the rest of the group. So although they planned for him to go and practice with them, it did not happen. But many ways of communication nowadays. Just as we saw last week, John Gaines and his Lodge Lanes 2 and HammerBowling.com teammates put up a solid team performance on the live stream and then moved into the team all events lead. Those guys from all over the country leading very, very busy lives, doing some different things within the bowling industry, but had the opportunity to talk a lot. Practiced once before coming to town and once in town on the showcase lanes, and it all paid off. So communication and practicing on the shot on your own, definitely a great benefit.
Well, it's all about the preparation. That's just half the battle right there. Of course, you have to perform. Try to execute that game plan that you came up with from that preparation. Shot there from Jason Lewis on the right lane. Lewis in the 4-hole for S&B 2.
Yeah, quite a crowd on hand today. Again, stands looking pretty full to check out S&B Pro Shop in person. And I imagine that the O'Keefes and their group will be here before the day is out as well to check out how things are developing here. For the moment, here's a look at the scoreboard. We're almost through frame number 6 here. Lanes 11 and 12 at the Baton Rouge River Center. A couple of questions in the chat room about the live stream schedule and the lane conditions here at the Open Championships, and both can be found on the Open Championships page on bowl.com. If you go to the rules and information box, you'll be able to find the live stream schedule as well as some notable bowlers, as well as some insight from yours truly as Matt Canizaro blogs from Baton Rouge. And now, recently added, there's an actual lane conditions box that'll give you all kinds of information about the lanes, the pins, and the condition here, and how you can get that downloaded in your own machine so you can practice and be at the top of your game before heading out to Baton Rouge. That, of course, a special shout out to Chad McLean, one of my own teammates. And a hint, get that pattern downloaded. Go out there, put that down at Alley Cats and practice. Be ready. I will do my best to hold up my end, and I know you guys will as well. And take some notes from one of the best groups in the game, S&B Pro Shop 1 and 2. All about strategy. They do have a left-hander, so my eyes will be taking notes on that as well. Andy Mills, Ronnie Horton, all kinds of celebs. So far at Meal this year, we've seen some tough starts on the lanes. Game number 1, not kind to quite a few teams, especially on our live stream broadcast. And of course, the strategy, a little bit more of a grind early in game number 1, willing to give up some pins to help that shot develop for later down the road. Let's talk a little bit about what we've seen. I mean, we've seen some very talented teams have a tough go there at the beginning and finish very strong. But of course, Nicholas J's Pro Shop, very consistent. 3 1100s. You don't see that very often here at the Open Championships, so they got it right from the beginning. But I would guess at this point, as you're helping things develop, 1,000, 1050, pretty solid start to get you on your way. What do you think?
Well, I think the, as I said previously, I think the average has been about somewhere between 950 and probably about 1020, 1030. I think Junior Team USA Support 2 probably got out to the best start as far as our live stream is concerned. I believe they shot 1050 or 1060 and then shot 1130 or 40. Something in that nature. And so they were well on their way. And then shot 970, I believe.
So they had a little trouble with the transition late in the game, while their companion team did just the opposite. They got off to a slow start and then bowled the highest game of the year, I believe. Was it 12-20?
12-20.
To close things out and move into the top 10. So they finished exactly how they were hoping to start, however, not quite what they were hoping for. 3,400 though, that is a huge number in a year. And especially this year when the scores weren't expected to be too high. And that, of course, the only score we've seen over 3,300 thus far. And we kick things off here in Baton Rouge on February 11th. And we'll be at it every single day until July 10th. So a lot of great action, great bowlers to come through. But 3401 is a pretty sizable number.
That's that is a what looks to be astronomical, because you put that number on this pattern, this condition. We watched a lot of good teams perform on it, and they've all performed well for the most part. And it just kind of goes to show and let you know just how great and how big that number really is. I think I'm more impressed with their consistency, the way they did it. You go 11-15, 11-65, and 11-21. That's pretty impressive. You don't do that every day. Maybe the 10-20, the 11-40, maybe a 1,200 on the end to get there. At least that's the way that, a couple ways that I've seen it done. in my time here, but that's good bowling. Limiting the opens, trying to fill frames best as possible.
That's true. 8 holes the entire night for Nicholas J's Pro Shop as they took the lead. And again, I was talking to Orlikowski earlier. He said he got to watch his wife's team last night. And they had 9 holes in just the last game. And still came away with 31 and change. Just missing the top 10, but so much left out there.
Nicholas J's Pro Shop average 11.33 a game. So it's clearly it can be done. There's no question about that. It definitely can be done. It's out there for you, but definitely not the easiest thing in the world. But
well, one way, of course, again, is to prepare. Take advantage of some opportunities out there. Gentleman in the chat room feels that maybe a disadvantage of not being able to practice on the pattern. But I've actually not heard of many areas of the country where the pattern is not available at a local bowling center or one within a reasonable driving distance to go out there and practice on the pattern and see it. And of course, when you do come to Baton Rouge for the very first time this year, that opportunity is available to everybody. In addition to our 48 championship lanes in the bottom level of the Baton Rouge River Center, we have installed 4 additional lanes upstairs, right next to the check-in and information area, the showcase lanes, as we call them here. And all bowlers have the opportunity to sign up for an hour on the showcase lanes for up to 10 people. So you can assemble your whole team early in the day that you bowl or the day before. Get out there and practice on the very same lane condition put out by the same lane machine on the same lane surface that you'll find at the Open Championships. And if you show up during peak hours, that's going to cost you $125 for up to 10 people. So that's a really good deal for about 13 bucks a guy to go out there for an hour and get loose, get used to the environment, the high ceilings. A little bit of humidity here, the approaches, the whole deal. Get comfortable. Practice your strategy. Practice your spare shooting. And during the off-peak hours, that will cost you $90, so 9 bucks a guy. Many folks taking advantage of that opportunity. And of course, if you'd like a little extra help, USBC Silver Coach Bill Hall available to help you out. That'll be $200 for an hour with Bill, and he'll help you guys with team strategy, how to break the lanes down, what equipment is best for this year's lane condition, and much more. You can find out more information about the showcase lanes on site at the Baton Rouge River Center or on bowl.com, and of course we recommend doing so in advance. That feature very popular here at this year's Open Championships. A lot of teams taking advantage, so you might want to call early, make a reservation. Don't miss out on the chance to practice on the very same conditions you'll see at the Open Championships.
Well said.
It's a great shot there by Kerry Kreft. We haven't talked much about what we're seeing here on lanes 11 and 12. A lot of strikes up on the scoreboard. We're almost through 8 frames. We'll take a look up there in just 1 second.
I think important guy to watch here is Dave Ewald. Very good player, of course. Obviously throws it really well. Really get a good read of what the ball's doing, I think, on his shots.
Not sure he liked that one too much, but it held. Strike. Big double for Dave.
I don't think he put it where he wanted it, of course, but lucky to hold and strike is always a plus for you.
We're certainly not seeing the amount of hold we saw last year But of course, this challenging lane condition changes every year. This year, a little less forgiving, so a premium on shot making, as you see Orlikowski on the right lane. A little bit slow, a little bit left, and pays not the ultimate price. Leaves a very makeable spare, but definitely not happy with that shot. You definitely have to make consistent, good shots here to give yourself the best chance to succeed.
I think what we see usually, see a lot of people, or shots that may come high, they'll run through the face, of course, and definitely during the first game, but throughout the 3-game set. So see a lot of ring 10s, and not 100% sure why that happens. A lot of the times, with really good shots, you ring a 10. A lot of the times, guys force themselves to play a certain area, so that when they want to play straight and play right, sometimes that requires a hand position change for some individuals, and just that inkling less of a rev can cause you to ring a 10 pin.
Well, I'm going to guess that Nick Wissinger is wishing for only a 10 pin at this point. Wissinger staring down his potential 4th consecutive open frame here after starting today with a double. Things not going well. Every time I look up, he's looking at a split. Right now, the 210. As Fred Bosch goes high on the left lane. Lucky to leave just a 3-pin. And how about that? I knew as soon as I said that he was going to pick that up.
That's a big spare.
That is a big spare after 3 consecutive opens. And that's why I said potential open frame, because I knew that the minute I said something, he was going to pick it up and wow the crowd, and he did just that.
He can corral a double to end that game with 180 or so. I'm sure he'd take that, considering the situation. Here's Mark Moore, the only left-hander. Looks like he's made a ball change. He's throwing some pretty bright and orange earlier. If I had to take a guess, I'd probably say it would be a revenge EVA ball. Something that looks like it's kind of bluish greenish. Again, if I had to take another guess, it would be a reckless. There's a lot of blue in that. Could be a 2 reckless as well, but if I can get an eye on that. So that's the only lefty. Of course, Mark, no stranger to that situation. One out of 10. Only guy to be on that side, have to manipulate the lanes on his own.
It's a great shot by Joswick. Second half of this game not being kind to him either. Started strong with spare and 3 in a row and has not thrown a strike since. Converted. 3, 6, 7, 10. And now Kreft looking for 3 in a row, shaking his head to 8, 10. So clearly these lanes starting to transition as expected, but it's just a matter of making the right move at the right time.
Good shot from Lewis. Jason now with a 4-bagger. Started with 3 in a row, spare, had an open, and followed it up with a 4-bagger. Ewald tried to end the 9th on a positive note. more Kreft open before him. Lewis, assuming Jay Lane pulls a shot, but he leaves a 4-pin. Good news for him.
Well, Emil, we definitely have to thank everybody for joining us. We've got about 350 online right now. We are, of course, going up against the PBA Tournament of Champions. So I imagine some split screens going on there. A lot of people checking out 2012 USBC Masters champ Mike Fagan, averaging 272 through 5 games at the TOC with a pair of 299 so far today.
Wow.
Yeah, in today's round of 36. So shake that off, Fagan. Awesome bowling. Fagan on a tear this year between him and Belmo. Fighting for Player of the Year, perhaps.
Norm Duke has slipped into that conversation as well. That's just a dynamite year for Mike there. There's a prime example of going out. I think he's been on the tour 10 years, I believe I heard this year. And work hard, pay your dues, and starting to reap the rewards in a major way. No pun intended.
No pun intended.
About that.
These guys in front of us have definitely put in their time, paid some dues, found much success here at the Open Championships, and trying to continue that here in 2012. It's been a while since we've seen both of these teams bowl together on the same pair. Perhaps the strategy of playing apart did not pay off how they'd hoped. Now here they are. Krajenke and Orlikowski going to finish things up here in game number 1. Certainly not shooting the lights out here, but not a bad start at all. Krajenke leaves the 7-pin, finishes with 183. Strike here gives Orlikowski 202. Billy leaves just the 4 for 201. A lot of people in the bleachers taking notes today. I don't blame them. Fred Bosch goes high, leaves the 3-6-10 on the right lane. Wissinger continues to struggle here in the opener. 3 opens and a spare in the second half of this game. There's a 3-6-10 for him as well. No problem for Boss. Let's see if Wissinger can follow suit. No problem. Boss stepping up with a possible 180. Wissinger going to grab another ball, regroup, and he can strike here for 170. $69 for Wissinger, 178 for Boss. Joswick stepping up on the right, hasn't struck since frame number 4. a difficult spare, especially on this challenging sport bowling lane condition. 2-8. It's a whole lot easier without that 10 in there. Let's see what Joswick can do. No problem there. There's our lone left-hander. Mark Moore leads the bucket. I want to say this is one of the 3 hardest spares that I'll ever have to shoot at as a left-hander. He makes it look so easy, but that one makes my knees tremble, especially when there's something on the line, but no problem for him. That's why he's got an eagle, and I'm back here talking about him having an eagle, so just to clear that up. Joswick finishes with 185. It's a 2-8 again, so I imagine he's going to make a move there. Start off game number 2. Mark Moore stepping back up. Possible 159, so things not going well for the left-hander here in game 1. And personally, and I said this the other day, as that one goes a little bit high, obviously he made a move there. Leaves just the 6 pin. Rumor is that was a Storm Vivid going down the lane. We saw a left-hander struggle on our last broadcast, and I believe he was just too far in, too early. And you're going to get early hook, 0 hold in the middle. Watched him go Brooklyn or through the face 13 times in a row before he moved out and had a great look, not that far out, as Jason Lewis throws it in the channel after 4 in a row. So there's a head scratcher, and Jay Lang can't help but laugh, but not sure what happened there. But anyway, for at least on the left side, the outside looked pretty good. But once again, these guys are the ones with the eagles, not me. So I can only say what I see from back here. But anyway, let's take a look here at the scoreboard real quick as we head into the end of frame number 10.
Lewis spares it up.
All right, so there's your look at the scoreboard. Now let's take a look back at the action. Kerry Kreft looking at a very tough spare here. 3, 6, 7, 10. No problem. Again, second time we saw that this game. So if you're going to leave it, please pick it up. That's all you can ask. As Lewis trips the 4 pin. After the gutter, finishes with 225. So that could have been a huge game. And it turned out not so. But 225, I'll take that 9 times in a row, please. Dave Ewald, 4 in a row. And we were talking last night on the way home from league about Mike Shady, who has never shot under 1900 here at the Open Championships in 15 plus years, I believe. And what an incredible accomplishment that is, and how difficult 1900 is. But when you think about it, it's really only 635 a set. Coming from league, There's 800s, 700s, all kinds of scores, and we'll get into all that later, I'm sure. But it's really just unbelievable. It's just 635, and I know the sport ball and lane conditions, the pressure of the big lights. I mean, certainly myself included, 1900 is a ginormous number. But really, 635. You put it in that perspective. I think in our league last night, there was more people who didn't shoot 635. And I don't know. I guess there's so many factors, of course. But still, 1900. Never shot below that. That is pretty awesome. I know bowlers who have gone a lifetime without even shooting one.
Nice finish from Dave Ewald.
Yeah.
Goes the back six for 249.
There's a quick look before it disappears. And within that, it's gone. So 980, 977, so not a terrible start.
I really wish I was here to see Nicholas Jace. Because I mean, these guys, I mean, they had a few hiccups, of course. Still managed to shoot 977 and 980, but those guys shot 11-15 the first game.
Yeah, Meyer's still in the chat room. Says he has never shot under 1800 in 23 years here. And that is how you end up number 2 on the lifetime average list. Mr. Meyer's part of a very elite club here at the Open Championships with multiple 300 games and came very close to being the first person with 3. Also has a 299 and a 290 at one point, I believe. Go along with his 2 eagles. So I think he's just trying to make the rest of us a little more jealous, as we weren't already, of all that he and his teammates have accomplished here. Gary Brown checking in from USBC. A lot of collegiate action going on in the next week or so. But now we get to the point of the day where the transition is obviously happening. They came into game number 1 with a strategy. Everybody's going to play a little bit further out with some surface and break them down, create some area to the right, and preserve the middle portion of the lane, because then, of course, as the day progresses, you're going to want to move left. And you'll have the missed room to the right, in theory. See what happens. Mark Moore with the ball change. He's still a little bit further in than you'd expect. Goes high there. Leaves the 4-7, so we'll see if he can get comfortable here. Joswick misses to the right. Difficult spare coming up right here. Two 4-10.
This is usually the game where we see scores start to creep up a little higher, usually in that 1100 range. As teams start to get hot, see the look, find the look that they want, and then just go ham, if you will.
You saw Joswick there, far to the right. Kerry Kreft, pretty far right as well. That ball checked a little bit early, so. On behalf of the right-handers, Emil, obviously the move is to go left, but it's just a matter of how far and what kind of ball change, if any. What do you think?
It's tough to say because we talked to some and they didn't want to make a huge move left too early. Still trying to save face or save something, I should say, for the third game. So it's a fine line, I think, especially now. But as I said before, it's usually the game where teams shoot 1,100. So, I mean, something has to work. But for this group, I think most of them, I mean, they've missed some spares. You know, they've been getting to the pocket. I think that they can just stay where they are or make minor adjustments. Not to make a board move or continue to make a board move maybe every frame, but I think the key is to not get left to 15. I'm pretty sure they don't want to do that. I'm almost positive that they don't want to get left to 15 ever. They don't have to, especially not this game.
Well, S&B 1, not a terrible first frame there. S&B 2, until that strike by Jay Lang. Every time I looked up, I saw the 210 in some kind of combination. The ball just not reading down lane. Just pushing right through the break point. Those guys pretty far outside.
And that's the real question. I watched Jay Lang actually move right during the first game. He was probably the left. I don't think he was the furthest left out of everybody, but he wasn't certainly where he is now. He made that transition towards the back half of the first game. He was able to strike out for 209. And we saw that with Junior Team USA support as well. Their break point was around 4 or 5 something. So still playing it fairly straight. I'm not saying straight by any means, but keeping their break points right. The great shot by Orlikowski right there. His break point was at least at 5.
Well, like we talked about last week with Stephanie Nation and her group, a part of the process here is this pattern a little bit shorter, 39 feet, and very fresh back ends, of course. I seem to be hooking a lot more than I expected just watching. I mean, I haven't bowled on them yet, but part of the plan, I would think, has to be to control that back end reaction. And what we saw out of her was to go to something with a little bit of surface to smooth out that reaction. It's not going to jump off the pattern because of that friction. And I think for these guys, as they're playing outside, maybe they have a little bit of surface and it's not reading off the back of the pattern at the break point, so going to something a little bit shinier at that point. It'll get down the lane, but it also will make it smooth once it hits the friction. I think that's important. And I see that a lot personally. You know, as things progress, of course, the surface will have less of an impact or less reaction on the friction, so you have to keep that in mind. And Orlikowski, when he was just up a second ago, threw a great shot. A lot of back end, but he also went to something a little bit shinier here in game number 2. Good shot there from Mark Moore. He also went to something a little bit shinier. They use surface early to help break things down and to move some of the oil down the lane.
I think the lanes are doing what they like to do, and I based that off Joslin's last shot there. So he got that ball in at the break point, down lane, probably about 8 or 9. And he leaves himself a 3-6-10. So I think they have the look that they want down lane. So I think maybe possibly for them it was about controlling the front part early. Just spare there from Joslin. Again, you can get a good read from Dave Ewald, I think. He's up on the right lane.
As you said, to get a good read off of Ewald, of course, these guys are intently watching each other to watch ball reaction. Going to communicate, going to talk through it. It is key. You're not out there alone.
That shot from Lewis there was about 11 to 12 at the arrows. Down to about 5. That'll be key, of course, as we move forward. How the front part of the lane will change and how that will affect them. I'm not going to say if it does change, because it will. It may not be very distinct. It might be subtle. You might not even notice it, but they might.
Well, as we learned from Eric Vermiglia, as his junior Team USA teams bowled very well. When you started here at the team event, you're going to see most of your hook down lane, and then as the day progresses, you see more hook up front, less hook in the back, and then it's a matter of managing your equipment, and making the right choices at that point, and as things change, and change quickly. But if those answers were that easy, we'd see a whole lot more 3401s out there. So that, of course, part of the challenge. Every single shot you throw changes the environment.
Shot from Orlikowski. Ball hit about 14 though, so it's something to watch for. See how much further left they'd like to go.
Now, was that an intentional? It hit 14 after hitting 5 last time around, or what do you think?
Well, he hit 14 at the arrows. I didn't see his last shot at the arrows. Well, it was the same break point. And actually, I think Wissinger just followed suit, so said it'll be interesting to see how far there is, how much further left they decide to go or are forced to go. Really good shot from Jobzik, leaves her a wrap 10. Lefties out there. Mark Moore's shot just hit about 9 at the arrow, so it looks to be a pretty good reaction. Something shiny.
Another left-hander, Doug Becker, joining us in the chat room, hoping to get an idea. They'll be out here later in May. The Armstrong Printing Group. They'll be broadcast live on bowl.com. Well, sir, things quickly falling into place for S&B Pro Shop 1. They started the day with 977. Quite a few strikes up there in game number 2. Good shot out of Jason Lewis. His first strike here in game 2. And appears to have been a ball change for him as well. Ewald trying to make it 5 in a row. Gets that one right. Lucky to leave just the 2. Looks like he's still going with a little bit of surface, and that ball never made its move on the back.
Like a pretty good shot too, with about 13 or so. The arrows. I think Jay Lane's shot let everybody know that they don't have the free will yet. He got that one right of where he would have lined down lane, of course, and lucky to just leave a 2-pin.
So we're through 3 here in game 2. Let's take a look up top. A lot of strikes on the board for S&B Pro Shop 1. The prediction in the chat room, 3185. Plus 185, pretty sizable number here. I believe that'll get you a spot in the top 10.
I would put someone in 5th.
Okay, so get back to the action here. 3150 or so. A solid number here in 2012. Orlikowski now spared 3 in a row. Wissinger struggled in game 1. Now stepping up on the right lane, looking for 4 in a row to start game 2. Of course, as soon as I open my mouth, 10-pin. Joswick with his first strike here in game 2. It's 3 in a row for S&B 2. Appreciate everybody joining us. Media Relations Manager Matt Canizaro and Media Relations Specialist Emil Williams Jr. live from the Baton Rouge River Center, the 2012 USBC Open Championships. Right now we're behind lanes 11 and 12 of this magnificent 48-lane venue. One of a kind. World's largest mobile scoreboard in front of us as well. This year we're expecting about 12,000 teams as we return to Baton Rouge for the first time since 2005. 60,000 plus bowlers and their friends and family headed our way. A lot to enjoy down here in Baton Rouge. The downtown area is booming compared to 2005. Big things happening there. Heard on the radio today. Live Music Fridays starting in the downtown area. A lot of nice little restaurants and cafes, a couple bars, and all kinds of things to do. Sit out there and enjoy the weather. There's even a library downtown. I didn't even know they still had those. Thought everything came on a Kindle or on the internet these days, but had the opportunity yesterday to get out and enjoy some Louisiana sunshine. Stepped out of the venue for a couple hours. And I will still stand by my thoughts right at the beginning. Baton Rouge is a delicious town. And if I came to town and that's all I got to do is bowl and eat, that'd be okay with me. And if you'd like to hear more about what to see and do here in the Red Stick, check out bowl.com. I have shared some thoughts and insight on my own personal blog on the website as well as Facebook. Matt Ken is our USBC. Check it out. Become a fan. USBC also with the Facebook page. All the greatest bowling news can be found there or on bowl.com. If you want to know more about the Open Championships, all the scores, highlights, videos, including a video of Nick Heilman and the Nicholas J's Pro Shop team, currently in the lead here, 34.01. Check that out. YouTube/Bowl TV, all kinds of good live streaming and other videos. So plenty to see and do on a rainy day here in Baton Rouge. Folks curious about the Wisconsin group to the left of us. Rock River Lanes, a couple of teams here today. 964 and 877. Big double for Joswick. Looks like he's settling in here in game 2. Wissinger up on the left after a 10-pin. He's got 5 strikes in the first 6 frames, so things going much better for him. Things definitely looking up here for S&B Pro Shop 1 and 2, not far behind here, coming on strong halfway through game number 2. Great shot there out of Mark Moore. He does not look happy, however, but the end result of that one is fair 4 in a row. So good ball change for him. One away from the surface. And pretty solid effort here so far. Kerry Kreft going to step up and try to make it 4 in a row for him as well. Got that one right, leaves the 210. Great shot out of Jay Lang, though. See if Ewald can get things back on track. He struck frame number 4. Looking to make it a double. Quite a backswing there. Ball reads nicely on the back of the lane, no problem. We're halfway through game number 2. Here's a look. As you can see, 7 eagles on the scoreboard. Those guys all champions here. We spread those out between 1997, 1999 team all events, and the 2004 regular team title. So they were the defending champs last time we came here to Baton Rouge. They've been together for quite some time. Orlikowski, great shot there. So we did mention we had some celebrities in the house here at the River Center today. We got Robert Lawrence on with us here right now, checking out the Brunswick action. Billy Orlikowski and the boys out there on the lanes. Robbie been here a couple days, got to watch the bowling. What are you seeing out there today?
Well, you know, if you can stay patient early on, you know, as you try to develop a little bit of something in practice and figure out something. But most of the guys I've seen and most of the teams, including the Pro Shop team number 1 down there, you have to stay patient through the first half of the first game and, you know, keep your nerves, stay settled, make your spares, hopefully break down a few splits, which they had a little trouble early on. You know, hopefully 1 or 2 guys on the team will find something and hold you in there, kind of like they did there with, you know, Billy grinding a 2-0, but then Dave shooting 240, kept them at least in the game.
What about the environment here? Of course, one of a kind, and you only get one shot at it every year. So marching down that center aisle, you know, seeing the high ceilings and the bright lights and all the fans in the stands. I don't care how good you are, you're going to have the goosebumps and the butterflies, and it's a matter of getting out there and settling down. But these guys came in. Of course, they've practiced a lot. They have a good strategy. They have good equipment. I know you're an equipment expert. But what are we seeing these guys throw today? Any idea what the game plan is?
Well, I think, you know, early on, I missed a little bit of the practice early on, but, you know, I think the game plan is to use a fairly strong ball early on surface-wise, just in practice balls. And then really, I'm not sure if they, you know, if a few guys, I don't know what they saw, if they made a mistake, but they might have still been using something a little too strong, maybe not surface-wise, but dynamically in the first, you know, half of that first game, so the ball was coming off the spot a little too hard. I really just think the key is to have a mild surface in a ball that you're not trying to look for a lot of ball reaction down lane. You need to slow the ball down off the break point spot. You need it to hit that spot and just, you know, gradually make that move.
Now, we've talked a lot this year, the pattern, 39 feet, a little bit shorter than the last couple of years. And a lot of teams, you know, one of the keys is managing the back end. I mean, you know they're going to be hooking, they're going to be fresh off the pattern, and it's a matter of getting something, like you said, just a little bit of surface to get it smooth off the pattern through the break point. And then at that point, as you open the lanes up, you know, you're going to start creeping left. The surface isn't going to recover. You know, what kind of moves you make at that point as a right-hander?
Yeah, and that is the key, is to watch that break point, control it early on. But then as soon as if you're making good shots and as soon as you see the ball start to labor down the lane on the spot, you have to make that move a little bit left and then also to a ball that comes off the spot a little bit harder. But you just can't have it be, it has to be something that you can still float down the front part of the lane. Because if you start moving left and go to something aggressive, there's no hold to the left and you still got to get the ball down the lane. So if you go too strong, and move left into the dry, as you move left, you find more friction. So you still got to be able to float the ball down the lane, but then it's going to have to be something that's going to read harder off the spot down the lane once the oil is carried down there.
Okay, now these guys started off 980, 977. Probably not what they were hoping for. We were talking earlier, you want to be probably 1,000, 1050 to really have a legitimate chance.
Yeah.
3,400 is a huge number.
Yeah.
But at this point, you know, obviously things coming into place here in game 2, a lot of strikes on the board. No holes at all for S&B Pro Shop 1, and of course that's what you want here.
Right.
As we talked earlier, Nick Heilman and the guys, 3401 with 8 holes the entire day.
Yeah.
And that, of course, is key. Throw great shots, make your spares. Of course, you need a lot of strikes to shoot 3,400. But can you put that number in perspective just based on your experience in the game and at this event?
You know, that's a really fair number. You know, at home when bowling in leagues, that's a pretty common number all the time. But out here to shoot a number like that is extremely respectable. And the team that did that with all 3 good games. So in reality, and these guys know, when you come in and you shoot a score like 970 out of the gate, you almost have to take your eye off the win. You just have to think, we're going to put up a respectable score. So.
Well, now looking at our top 10, of course, as you mentioned, consistent for Nicholas J's Pro Shop 2, 1115, 1165, 1121, 3401. A huge number this year in Baton Rouge. Second place only 3227. I say only.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good number as well, but just to show you how good of a number Nicholas J's Pro Shop put up.
And I love those numbers. I mean, this is a little more, I don't want to say throwback, but this is a number that everybody feels they can reach when they get here. If they've got a game plan and they've got a good team, that's a reachable number. The amazing thing about the team in the lead with the 3401 is shooting 1,100 every game. It really, really is hard to do here. You either find something early, but you burn it up and you lose it late, or you struggle early trying to find something and you develop something and have something, you have a better score late. But to shoot those kind of numbers across the board.
Now you look down the rest of the top 10. 10th place right now, 3144. And the highest first game of any team in the top 10 besides Nicholas J's Pro Shop, 1028.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you're going to see that a lot because those are all teams that are out on the floor developing a shot in practice and in the first game. And then they all start to click, just like we're seeing right now. They all start to click. It's just how much of a hole do you dig in that first game? And unfortunately, they dug quite a bit of a hole.
Well, and that, of course, most teams at that point shoot 970, expecting a lot more. It's easy to panic, but we talk so much about coming in with a game plan and a strategy and being brave enough to stick with it. If it looks like it's not working, you have to grind it out.
Yep.
But at what point do you abandon?
You know, a good team like that's not, I don't think they're ever going to abandon it. I think they're just going to try to, at some point, the individual takes over and they want to bowl respectable for themselves. You make a team effort out of it early on. You work with, you try to keep your players calm, your partners. You try not to make them feel bad about any mistakes they may have made. You don't want any one guy on the team to feel like you're holding us back. So nobody, this team doesn't do that to each other. But then at some point, individual pride takes over and you just say, okay, he knows his game. He's going to do his thing. I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah, we saw junior Team USA support. They come up a lot. 959, 991, and then things fell in place exactly how they hoped. 1220, highest game of the year. Those guys, very accomplished, very talented. They stuck with it and they found it. And sometimes you get lucky and you find it. I don't think those guys got lucky, however.
No, they didn't get lucky. That's a team right there, and that's a team that has a lot of good attitudes on it. Amanda Vermillion, she's got one of the best attitudes on the lanes of all, and I think that resonates over the whole team. And that's another thing is you got to continue to have fun out there. At all costs, you got to try to have fun and keep a good attitude about it.
All right, well, here we are. Frame number 7 of Game 2. A lot of strikes on the board. You had a chance to watch some bowling this afternoon. I saw you watching Robin Orlikowski and some of the Brunswick guys bowl doubles and singles. Not sure if you were in the building last night for their team event.
Yeah, I stayed around just for the first game, and they kind of grinded along that first game, and then I come in this morning and found out that they bowled a good number.
Yeah, again, they started slow and didn't finish how they'd hoped, but just missed the top 10. I believe they're 12th right now.
Yep.
Put up a good effort today in doubles and singles, and now you've had the chance to watch these guys. An unfortunate break there for Jay Lane with the 710, but you're watching things develop.
And, oh, God, he almost made that, too. Yeah, Jay worked hard the first game for 2-0, or right at it, or whatever, and he's been close the whole time. He just hasn't had very many good breaks, and that's got to be frustrating.
All right, so these guys obviously have the experience and the success here. Didn't quite get off to that great start, but a long way to go. What can we look forward to before we let you go here in the rest of Game 2 and Game 3?
I think you're going to see a few of the guys continue to keep it going. A few of the guys might lose their reaction and maybe not have the big strings that they were having. but there's going to be a couple of guys up there that are going to put up a good number individually. I see them shooting. I'm going to go out on a limb. I bet they shoot a middle 32.
Okay, well, the number in the chat room earlier, 31.85, so we're going to take the over on that.
Yep.
These guys definitely capable of that, as you see by the Eagles on the scoreboard.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So there you have it, 32 plus. S&B Pro Shop 1 and 2. That's Robert Lawrence, knows a little bit about bowling and Brunswick equipment, so check him out on all the message boards, always out there. We appreciate your time today.
You bet. Thanks for having
stopping
me.
by.
Thank
all
you.
Right.
Appreciate it.
There you have it. Always good to have an expert come on and make us sound like we know what we're talking about a little bit. Emil's going to jump back on the headset and share his personal insight from behind the scenes here at the Open Championships. Are halfway through frame 8 here in game number 2, and just one open frame on the board for S&B Pro Shop 1. We'll take a look at the scoreboard in just a couple of minutes, but things going exceptionally well here in game 2. 977 start, 980 for S&B Pro Shop 2. Emil, we just talked to Robert Lawrence, and he kind of made me feel like I almost know a little bit about what I'm talking about here. So it's always a good feeling.
Everybody needs that validation now, man. Well, said the second game is usually the game where the teams go ham, and this is the game for S&B Pro Shop 1. And not to be excluded in the conclusion is S&B Pro Shop 2 is Fred Balls for the 5-bagger. Jay Lang has not had the best luck in the last 2 frames. Up to 710 on the right lane in frame number 7. And then follows it up with 5 count here. 1, 2, 7, 8, 10. Now back-to-back opens from Kerry Kreft. Good spare from Lang. Kreft chops a 3 off the 6. Before that, he left a big 4. Back in the 5th, he left the 210 but converted. Good stuff from Robert Lawrence there. Here's the man.
Good stuff from Dave Ewald. For the 5-bagger, let's take a look at the scoreboard. We're through 8. Time flies. Game 3 right around the corner. I feel like we were just setting up. Yeah. Throw a lot of strikes. Setting the pace here at the Open Championships. Some folks already in game number 3 nearby. Looks like 44 teams on today's squad. Of course, 48 lanes, a full house. All right, let's get back to the action. Good shot there from Krajenke on the right lane.
shot from Wissinger. Max score 1290.
There's a huge number, a lot of strikes. So far here, of course, we saw the highest game in tournament history last year on the way to the regular team title. Are we going to see a higher number today?
You can really see the small margin of error. No room. It's like Mark Moore almost has to be perfect every shot. Looked pretty good. It probably was a board or two right down lane and leaves the 3-9. Big spare though. Big nice for Kreft. Coming off back-to-back opens. No doubt he'd like to put 10 back here. Set himself up in the 10th frame. Some confidence back as well. He just might get it here. Yes, sir. Ewald up for S&B 1. Dave working on a 5-back. Looking for 6. Here's the 9th frame. Game number 2. Big game ahead. He pulled it in. Does it hold? Not only does it not hold, it doesn't get the break, and he leaves 6, 7, 10. Maybe the first really ill-advised shot from Ewald all day. Of course, it's going to come at a worse time. The thing that would make it better probably if he were to convert this. He'll give it a whirl. Ooh. Takes the 10 right off. That'll leave him with 202 in the 9th. Of course, max is 232. He can strike out in the 10th. But we will not see the highest team game.
Well, I've already seen the highest team game in tournament history.
That is correct.
As did you, and thousands of bowlers and fans.
That number will not be supplanted, at least not this game. Doesn't mean, though, they can still put up a huge number.
That number, of course, 1281, shot by Turbo 2-1 Kreft on the way to last year's regular team title. We almost saw that number beaten later in the tournament, actually. Fox Bowl, Mike Nape and his guys shot 1278. So a very high scoring 2011 event. But anything around 1,200 is monstrous here in 2012.
Start of the 10th. Orlikowski to start things off for S&B 1. See that a lot too. Ball a little right. Catches some oil. Doesn't drive all the way through like it should. We're at the 10.
We do appreciate everybody joining us today. There's so much going on out there in the bowling world even. Tournament of Champions happening in Las Vegas right now. I'm sure it's a nice Thursday afternoon wherever you are, but thanks again. This is Matt Canizaro and Emil Williams Jr. live from the Baton Rouge River Center 2012 USBC Open Championships. You're watching the 2:30 team event. S&B Pro Shop 1 and 2 from Clinton Township, Michigan. 7 Eagles on this pair, so these guys know how to play. And we're watching them get it done here in game 2. They started with 980 and 977. And S&B Pro Shop 1 having a great game 2. We'll have that final score in just a few minutes. But thanks again for joining us today. And if you missed part of today's broadcast and want to catch up on what you missed or check it out later, you can visit youtube.com/BowlTV and see that and much more from our live streaming here at the Open Championships and Lucas Wiseman out and about around the bowling world. A lot of collegiate events coming up. If you want to see more about what's on the future schedule, check out bowl.com. On the right side of your screen, you'll see the live stream schedule, or go to the Open Championships page and rules and information, and you'll see our live stream schedule for Baton Rouge for the rest of the year. A lot of exciting broadcasts coming up, including April 16th. We're going to see defending regular singles and all events champion Matt Wagon, and we'll show his team event because we do have some other events going on around the country. We'll show his team squad last year, of course. His team event did not go as well as he'd hoped. Shot 636, and actually got an email from him today. He's been listening to our broadcast, and we have coined a term here at the Open Championships now, and he is very glad about that. He thinks it's great. Once again, a not so terrific team event by some standards. I would take 636 every year, every set, but 636 in team. And of course, Emil, what happened next?
Well, he became the first bowler in history to record back-to-back 800 series. 806 in doubles, and then flip-flopped and went 826 in singles. Of course, then 826 led him to the regular singles title, and his all events total of 2268. Good enough to hold on and win an all events title as well. So 2 for 1 for Matt Wagon. I look forward to seeing him next week, of course. You too.
Well,
go 800, 800.
No problem, because for the record, only 3 bowlers in tournament history have shot 800 more than once at the Open Championships, besides Matt Wagon. John Sosha and Matt McNeil, the other two. And not in the same year, and certainly not back-to-back. But I can honestly tell you that if Matt Wegan would have walked up to me and started talking before that day, I would have had no idea who he was. No offense to Matt Wegan, a very talented bowler and very well known in the Iowa and the Midwest area. But yeah, he's one of those guys who stepped up on the big stage, got it done, and now he's got 2 titles to show for it. He's going to go down in history as the first bowler with back-to-back 800s. Will we see another? Who knows? I am definitely not surprised by some of the things we see here on the scoreboards at the Open Championships, but for now, he's the only bowler to accomplish that feat, and we will not forget him anytime soon. And Matt, if you're tuning in or you're planning to check this out before you head out, we look forward to it. And everybody knows who you are now, so don't worry about that. We'll have a very special ceremony for Matt when he gets to town. Marches out for his team event. He'll see his eagle on the scoreboard next to his name for the very first time, and that, I believe, is one of the coolest moments for our champions. And looking forward to that and much more coming up, so check out our next broadcast, April 16th, 3:30 Eastern, right here on Bull TV.
That is the first regular team defending champs to make his way back this year's event. Now Matt can tell someone else. We should put some, see what our regulations are on that term. Now, can you only Wegan it at this event, or can you do it anywhere?
Well, I have a feeling that's going to catch on worldwide now. I mean, it's very easy at these events. Nationals, state, city, wherever it is, you go out there on day number 1. You're in unfamiliar territory most often. Not familiar with your surroundings, the environment, the approaches, the carry, the lane surface, you name it. Any combination of things, or just plain nerves. And it's very easy to go out on day 1 and not bowl as well as you'd hoped. But the idea, of course, is to go home and regroup, have a nice dinner, get some rest, come up with a game plan, whether it's a very small move the next day, as it was for Matt Wegan. You know, if you're getting to the pocket and you're just not carrying the corner pins, whatever it is, just find that tweak, whether it's in your hand position or move a couple boards on the approach, or a different ball entirely. But he clearly was comfortable in his team event, and the pins just did not cooperate. Obviously saved all that carry for day number 2 and was able to put day 1 behind him. Again, 636. I would not be upset about having 3 of those, as we talked about. That would get you to 1900. Yeah, whatever was in his favor that day, whatever he captured, that is where that term came from. He Weganed it. And I do believe that can happen anywhere. It's just a matter of putting day 1 behind you and having an awesome day 2.
Well, now you can be happy to see that at home or wherever he may be. Might tell someone else, hey man, you Wegan it.
And of course, we only mean that in the best possible way. I mean, how cool is it to have a day like that, and all of a sudden you've got yourself in the lead in 2 events, 2 800s. I don't know if I could have even stepped up for singles after shooting the first one, to be honest with you. And he did it, and did even better. And went from 636 in team events to 2268 and an all events title. So he's got bookend eagles and the day of his life. But can he top it this year? We will see. On April 16th and 17th, we'll have a story about his title defense on Bull.com following his performance. And check out his team event live on Bull TV right now. We are wrapping things up here in game number 2. Let's take a look at the scoreboard before things disappear on us. S&B Pro Shop 1. Right around 11:50 here in game 2, so not bad. 9:77 start. We got the big game in game 2 we were talking about. And ideally, that's just the halfway point on an uphill battle. I'm sure they would be glad if that was just a mediocre game. And game 3 was the monster. We will see here. Dave Ewald is going to finish things up. Strike here gives him 222. And the 10 pin does not cooperate. And the number, as you see, 11:55, 21:32. So those guys in great position right now for a shot at the top 10. 34:01 is many, many, many strikes away for these guys. They are, of course, very capable based on their experience on paper. I would definitely pick them as a front runner. But that's going to take a whole lot of striking to get them there. But right now, to make the top 10, they need just 31:44. It's a little over 1,000. Top 5, 31:70. So 10:50 here in game number 3 would be a solid effort. Get them easily in the top 10 and give them a terrific head start for team all events tomorrow. As Orlikowski leaves the 7 pin, but while we have a chance, while we're talking about leaderboards, let's get a quick rundown from Emil Williams Jr. We'll go 1, 5, and 10 in each event and see what it's going to take to get you in those positions.
Well, in case someone wasn't paying attention or listening, 34:01 leads the regular team. Nicholas James Pro Shop number 2. In 5th, Junior Team USA Support 1 with 31:70. Mansfield, Texas, and in 10th place currently in a regular team, Bob's Custom Decks from Romeoville, Illinois, 31:44. In doubles, the combination of Hugh Miller and Adam Barta. Hugh from Mercer Island, Washington. Adam from Girard, Ohio, 14:29. Currently the leading scorer in the regular doubles. In 5th place, Patrick Smart and Rick Minley, both from Santa Maria, California, 13:68. And in 10th place, it's a two-way tie. Kevin Haney and Jeff Campbell II, both from Amarillo, Texas, 13:47. And Jeremy Christ and Jeff Wadsworth. Chris from Bemis Point, New York. Wadsworth from Lakewood, New York, 13:47. In regular singles, Henry Teese III, West Allis, Wisconsin, shot the tournament's first and so far only 800 series. He leads with 800 on the nose, 232, 279, 289 for Henry.
That's actually our only 800 ever shot in Baton Rouge. We were here in 2005 for 130 or 40 days and did not see an 800 series. We only saw 12 300s that year. We're already at 9 here in 2012. But to win singles that year, 791. So tough scoring pattern in 2005, and it's a little bit challenging here in 2012. Emil, back to you. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Always a sucker for the nuggets of information from Matt Cannizzaro.
I'm a sucker for nuggets too. Usually they're some sort of chicken parts, deep fried and dipped in barbecue sauce, but to each his own.
Well, there was a possibility of a joke there. Now we'll keep going.
All righty.
In 5th, Camden Rokita. Actually had a chance to watch him during his singles event. He had the front 9 once or twice. I believe. Front 9 once, probably front 8 another time during that span. Camden from Springfield, Illinois, 258, 279, 226 for 763. And we got a log jam at the bottom here. Three-way tie for 8th, actually, at 742 with Sean Mason from Brookings, South Dakota. Mason went 279, 237, 226. And there's Michael Tucker from Las Vegas, 268, 215, 259. And Kevin Reinhardt, I actually know that gentleman, from Schaumburg, Illinois. 238, 259, 245. Actually, I believe I watched Michael Tucker as well during the singles events. Michael Tucker, part of the Legend of Gung Ho squad. During their time here, they did take the team lead with 38-88, but of course, since not long after, as a matter of fact, Nicholas James came in and did their thing. And in regular all events, Ryan Whitney, who we actually saw a couple of days ago here, was hopped on in the booth during our Stephanie Nation broadcast. He leads with 21-70.
I don't know if you noticed, but he did receive his plaque that we sent from the Open Championship for his 300 game here in singles. And that is now his Facebook profile picture. And that is a proud gentleman. I would be extremely proud as well. One of 9, the first of 9 300s here in 2012, and a very nice plaque courtesy of the Open Championship, so you can never forget that special moment on the tournament lanes. And he's sharing that moment with the world.
S&B Pro Shop trying to share a moment with the world as well. In 5th place, Camden Rokita, Springfield, Illinois, again, 2080. Camden had sets of 631, 686, and 763. Mr. Whitney had 631, 766, and 773. And in 10th place, I just saw him about a week and a half ago, Robert Hansen from Tacoma, Washington. 607, 684, 765 in singles. And Robert's single series also came with a 300 on the end. And that set actually put him in 4th place in singles. But 2056 for Robert Hansen there. To look at your top 10 regular events here at the 2012 USBC Open Championships.
Of course, team all events, the big number. Here, that is the marathon, 45 game total. Current leaders, John Gaines and Lodge Lanes 2, 97-44. So that's a pretty solid number, 744 over par on a very challenging lane condition. And even if S&B Pro Shop 1 does not move into the lead here in the team event, they have a great head start on team all events. I know if Gaines and his teammates are listening, they're not happy with that thought, but that's how it works here. You post your number and you wait it out. See, it's not over till July 10th. As we know, anything can happen anytime. In 2006, we saw Wendy McPherson come in and shoot 8-12 to win the singles title 2 days before we closed up shop. And in 2008, our classified singles title went on the final squad of the tournament. And of course, conversely, we've seen score shot on the opening weekend. Michael Newman, 1990, went away with 4 titles, took the lead on day 1 and held it all the way through. So you just never know. No number, no record is safe here at the Open Championships, as we've seen in recent years. Some awesome moments that I personally got to witness on the championship lanes, and I have no doubt there's many more down the line. Will we see one today or tomorrow? I don't know.
5th place in team all events is 95-21 Racers Pro Shop from Baldwinsville, New York. And 10th is Kaziski's 1, Buffalo, New York, 93-76. Good start for S&B 1, huh? They know what's happening.
They've been here, and once again, 977 to game 1. Sure, not exactly what they were hoping for, but it was a bit of a grind. They stuck with it. They're reaping the benefits here in game 2 and early in game 3. Spot in the top 10. Extremely possible at this point.
so far. A team of 5. 8 strikes on the board through 2 frames. Magic number 1269. So they'll need to go at the same pace that they were in last game for about 7 frames.
There's a question in the chat room. It says, Emil and Matt, what do you think about the scores so far? And it was posted by somebody named Ryan Whitney, 2170. Why does that number sound so familiar? I am sure Mr. Whitney at home hoping that on July 10th he gets a phone call to let him know that his 2170 is indeed the winning number. But again, so hard to know, so hard to say at this point. Back in 2009, when Ron Vokes shot 857 in singles, which at the time was the second highest series in tournament history, and went on to shoot 23-21, smashing the all events record. We thought that was it. We thought it was a done deal, and he was going to go home with 2 eagles. Lo and behold, Bill Gergen comes in, starts with a pair of 299s, and mans up to throw 8 strikes in a row for 862. Highest score in 109 years of tournament competition. He took home the regular singles title. Ron Vokes, of course, held on for the all events crown. And we thought that was it. We thought that number was going to hold for a while. The previous high was 2279 by Stephen Hardy, shot in 2002. And that number held up for 7 years before Vokes came along, and we thought Vokes was going to settle in nicely. And 1 year later, Matt McNeil, 23-26 at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno. And McNeil, not a one-hit wonder. He almost took home back-to-back all-events titles. That has never happened. And McNeil came within 1 game, even a couple of frames, of taking the lead again. We saw Mike Rose take the lead in his title defense back in 2008. But Matt McNeil, 23-26, and came back with 22-41 in 2011. That title, of course, went to Matt Weggin, 22-68, so McNeil right there, and ended up finishing 3rd. So what does he have in store for us this year? We will see. But Ryan Whitney, to answer your question, we have no idea. Obviously, these scores are a little bit lower all around. You can just tell by looking at the leaderboards and what it's going to take to make the top 10. The number of honor scores compared to last year when we had 52 300s and a record 16 800s. So it'd be cheating for us to say we didn't figure that one out already. Somebody has to win, no matter what the conditions are, what the leaderboards look like. So at this point, 2170 is a good number. It is the number. That's the number to beat. So still about 40,000 bowlers looking to come through and take down Mr. Whitney. So he's got a big target on his back.
Everybody's gunning for that number 1 spot. S&B gunning for the number 1 spot as well. Makes the team all events, but 1269 the number. Tie at first, or first rather. Pretty good through 3.
They're certainly giving it their best effort here.
We're on pace for 1,200 plus last game until about the 8th frame or so. Keep that pace the same, keep it up. Not better. have to do the unthinkable. Word around town, at least it seems like that's a number at 3401 might be there to stay for a long time. Though it's still very early in the tournament. Get the sense that some folks are feeling that, thinking that way.
Well, we kick things off here February 11th. 151 days, a near record until July 10th when we wrap it up, pack up and move out of town, but still a lot of great bowlers yet to come through. Working very hard at home, no doubt. Trying to get ready for the biggest tournament of the year. I believe I saw Ronnie Horton talking earlier about this being his favorite couple of weeks of the year. They now come in late May. He was wishing that we could have 2 Open Championships, maybe one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and that way he'll be able to enjoy that experience twice per year instead of just once. So, very challenging when you come out here and you only get one shot at it every year. The good news is you get to try again next time, but that's a lot of pressure.
Should these gentlemen continue to strike, there could be a fair amount of pressure that might loom near the end here. So far, so good.
Question in the chat room is talking about striking. We did post some league scores from our employee league last night nearby at Metro Bowl, also the home of the 2012 Bowlers Journal Championships. But we were over there just unwinding a little bit after a long day at the Open Championships, and we have our employee league. And we did post a score sheet. Our team diversity, Matt and Emil and Brandy Silva from the information area here at the Open Championships. We shot 832 scratch, game number 1. It's a trios league, and because of the various ages and skill levels and such that we have working at this tournament, folks from all over the country just want to go out there and have a good time. So it is a handicap league just for fun. Handicap based off at 230 or whatever it is. 90% at 230, who knows? But we did get some sticks. We had a lot of fun in that game. Brandy had 255. And Emil had 277, and I had the rest for 832. And that was a lot of fun, a lot of strikes. And it's nice to go out there and roll a good game every now and then and get your confidence up for when it's time to put it to the test here at the Open Championships. So now that the arm swing is a little bit loose, I think it's time to go practice on a more challenging lane condition and try to get ready for my shot on the big stage. And if you did miss those scores and all of the witty comments that followed, you can find that on Facebook. So go to Matt Canizaro USBC, check in, like it, add your thoughts as well. Again, we're just out there to have a good time. We're here to have a good time. And it looks like S&B Pro Shop is having a good time as well.
They're having a grand time.
Well, I don't think a grand is going to do it at this point, but
yeah.
7-pin ends a run for Ewald. They're going to need a grand and 300 more to get it done here.
Still out there for him. You can tell the moves that have been made. He's bumped in a little bit more. Last shot I saw Bill throw on the left lane near for Darrow. Looks like a little closer to 15 and leaves a flat dime.
A flat dime. That's another coin term here on our Open Championships live stream broadcast. say that Mr. Wagon had some flat dimes on his way to 636 in singles last year. Then he wagoned it, doubles in singles. And there you have it. Pretty soon we'll have the Matt Intermeal 2013 Phrase of the Day calendar. Keep your eyes out for that. There's an idea for the off season, huh?
How about spare for Orlikowski. Spare, Turkey, spare. Here's Wissinger looking for 5. He has it. Wissinger started with 169 the first game. 99 finishes, 268, now finds himself with the front 5 here in the third game. More up on the right lane, the lone lefty. Buckets. Last frame. What was Mr. Lawrence's prediction?
He said mid-32. So he easily took the over on the chat room prediction of 31-85. Now well on their way.
It might get to a point where at worst, it might put the first 33 on the board.
Well, we'll take a look at the scoreboard here after frame number 5. All you're going to see is strikes at S&B Pro Shop 1. They came to play.
And very similar to their second game.
Not going quite as well for S&B Pro Shop 2. 980, 940. Still respectable. Still all part of the game plan. 10 guys communicating, working together. That's what it's all about. Camaraderie. Dave Ewald going to step up on the right lane. Started this game with 3 in a row and then a spare. He's still pretty far right here in game number 3. As we saw with Henry Teets, our first 800 of the year, just straighter is greater. And a ring 10 there. For Ewald, another great shot. Orlikowski's not wasting any time. He's up on the left lane. Working on a spare. Looking to get back on track. 10 pin goes out. All right, 10 pin, no problem for Ewald. Now let's take a look upstairs. There it is. A lot of strikes on the board. 21-32 after 2.
Wissinger will put up another. Yes, sir. It's pretty locked in, looks like.
Wissinger got off to a little bit of a rough start today. Certainly redeemed himself. And now has 6 in a row to start game number 3. Back to the action. Update from the TOC, Mike Fagan slacking out there in Las Vegas, good buddy. And Dallas resident now. 2012 USBC Masters champ, his 8 games so far. In the round of 36, 238, 299, 268, 258, 299, 201, 290, 269. Shake that off, Mike. Plus 522. Leads the field by more than 200 pins. After 8 games. And after 18 games, top 18 will advance to match play. Oscar Palermo, second at plus 317. Belmonte, two-hander. Both those guys, plus 313. Mika Corviniemi, plus 285. Tony Reyes, 278. And last year's runner-up, not runner-up, I'm sorry, third place finisher, Tom Doherty, who bowled a 100 game on TV and lost to eventual champion Mika Corviniemi is 6th at plus 271, but Fagan 200 pins ahead of the field after 8 games. How about that? Mike, of course, spent some time at the ITRC down at the International Bowling Campus in Texas. Has a chance to practice there, former Team USA member. He's had some success here at the Open Championships as well. It's been a while since we've seen him around. And hopefully a while before we see him back, because that means he's out there bowling well on tour. Didn't mean that in a bad way, but means he's still successful out there, and of course ineligible to compete at the Open Championships. So that is a good thing in this case. But we'll keep an eye on that.
Clearly, he doesn't plan on doing that anytime soon, especially taking care of business there at the TLC. That is beyond impressive right there. I wonder, is he sporting the Asics on his on his right foot today? A couple of spares all of a sudden for S&B. While Matt was taking care of things on the computer side, Robert Lawrence turned to us and gave a friendly nod. So perhaps is to validate his prediction and more. Looks like. Orlikowski getting some last-minute advice, perhaps, from Fred Boss. He's going to step up on the right lane there, lane 12. Working on a strike, looking for 2 in a row here. Solid game 3 all around for S&B Pro Shop 1. Great shot there. Orlikowski going a little bit straighter here in game 3.
off. And we do have the big camera down here just in case it's time to take a team picture, because as you know, if you don't get your picture taken,
look. That's what that ball did. Got on the horse.
that's a 7-bagger for Wissinger. What did he shoot in game number 1?
169.
169. He's already got 169 and more here in game number 3. And there's Mark Moore leaving the 3-pin. A little bit chilly up here in the top row of the bleachers at the Baton Rouge River Center. Emil showed up today at 2 o'clock with a glass of fruit punch that has now turned into a slushie. Trying to keep it comfortable in here for the bowlers. So
That was a nice smoothie. It's really no longer a smoothie.
it's a popsicle.
I don't really know what it is. Doesn't look very good.
But the environment down here in Baton Rouge is a little bit different than we're used to compared to the dry climate of the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. So of course, when you get to town, make sure to take advantage of opportunities like the showcase lanes upstairs to get used to the unfamiliar terrain. The Brunswick textured approaches, the best in the business that I've ever seen, to be honest with you. Make it very easy. And of course, technology, slide soles and such, make it very easy to adapt when you're traveling the country. And it looks like S&B Pro Shop, no problem adapting today.
Flat dime there from Kreft. Of course, with as the frames move on, we get down to money time. Jay Lane, meanwhile, with a 5-bagger. She got spare, strike spare 5-bagger. A 4-bagger, couple of 4-baggers actually from Joswick and Krajenke. So S&B 2 getting in on the act.
Nobody wants to be left out.
That's right, as you mentioned, 10 players with, trying to break them down so everyone can benefit. S&B 2 getting it done here as well. For those in the chat room and watching, it's still out there, folks, so we suggest you stay tuned. That didn't help. Fast 8.
Well, there's definitely some folks tuning in around the country right now, maybe on the edges of their seats. Nick Heilman, Andy Mills, 3401, sitting on top of the team standings. John Gaines checking in from a dinner party somewhere. Of course, the team all events leaders, Lives Lanes 2, 97.44. That number's pretty good. Pretty solid effort, and they started things off with a 31.96 in the team event, and then got progressively better. But S&B Pro Shop won well on its way to a big team number, so we'll see.
That is the first open frame for S&B 1 right there. That's 7-10. 1 now for Orlikowski at 175 in the 8th. Still an opportunity for Magic here. Number's still out there as well. Check my addition real quick. Wissinger's still perfect.
We saw all kinds of excitement on the live stream last year. A couple of 300 games, Matt McNeil and Luke Voklander. They'll actually be on the same team this year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. A very talented Lens group from up there in Minnesota. But, it's been a while since we've seen some real excitement on the live stream. So Nick Wissinger started the day with 169. Putting the pedal down here in game number 3. Just got the front 8. So I look down for a minute, I look up, and I see bad news for both S&B teams. Fred Voss, 467. Mark Moore, the lone left-hander. Baby splits, 2-7. So I'm not sure what's happening here, but you guys need to get back on track. And I know that when we talk to them after they're done, we're going to hear what we've heard a lot of times so far. We just didn't get enough in game number 1. And most times, that sacrifice is what helped things along in games 2 and 3. And the team that wins this thing is going to be the one that can put it all together. Grind it out, still get a pretty solid number, and then have things open up just how they'd like. All part of the strategy. Question in the chat room, what was the winning team all-event score in 2005? Of course, a very tough scoring year. And without looking at my notes, off the top of my head, I want to say 96-98. And once again that year, we had 0 800s. And only 12 300s. So for what that's worth, this year we have 1 800 and 9 300s, and we're not quite to halfway. Kick things off February 11th. So again, it's all just numbers. I mean, we know we're dealing with a lot of talented bowlers coming through, capable of anything. I mean, I always go back to the Ron Vogt story. His highest set 25 plus years, 26 years at the time, I believe, was 1923. And he comes out with 23-21. So I gave up on predictions and haven't any clue. I just come out here and report the news. That's the best I can do for you. And of course, I'll enjoy all of those moments as they unfold here at the Open Championships, and I'll tell the world about them. Folks curious about the live stream cameras. We do have 5 cameras in the venue this year. We have 3 point and click cameras where you can zoom in and zoom out, take some pictures, check out the action, look at the scoreboards. and those are available on the Open Championships page of bowl.com. There's a webcam tab, and we also have 2 live video feeds in the venue at all times, except for when we're live streaming. In order to free up some bandwidth, we have to take those down. We apologize for the inconvenience to anybody out there, and we'll have those back up once we're done here today with our featured pair live stream broadcast of S&B Pro Shops 1 and 2. So once again, we apologize for that inconvenience, and any other time, definitely check those out and enjoy the opportunity to see what's happening inside the Baton Rouge River Center.
Big 9th frame here coming up. Hook. Very nice. As you look at the scoreboard here. Here's Wissinger looking for 9 in a row. Looks good. Yep.
We did have 2 guys earlier today with the front 9. Nothing developed there. So a couple close calls. Nice break there from Mark Moore. Got that one right at the arrows. And we're lucky to carry that Brooklyn shot. So he does look a little bit confused today. But hanging in there, making the spares.
Pin left for Kreft.
Something we definitely should mention, Mr. Williams, is that just a couple days from now, on April 14th, the USBC Women's Championships are going to kick off at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. More than 6,000 teams headed west this year to visit our buddy Aaron Smith, who will be handling the media relations duties during that 86-day event. Curious about the Women's Championships, want some more information, or want to follow along all of the news and notes and Aaron's insight from the stadium out in Reno. It's his second time out there. He was there in 09, very briefly in 10 actually, and now back at it full time in 11. So check that out. Women's Championship kicks off April 14th. It will run until July 8th. So if you're not headed that way to compete already, definitely check it out. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you here in Baton Rouge at the USBC Open Championships. And next year, one big happy family. Everybody's headed to Reno. The Open Championships will be at the National Bowling Stadium, and the women will head across town to the Reno Sparks Convention Center. And Billy Orlikowski, big strike there to start off the 10th frame here for S&B Pro Shop, hoping to go to Reno next year as a defending champion. These guys are putting up a nice number here in the team event. Not going to be enough for the lead, but still a very good head start for team all events. Tomorrow is going to be a big day for these guys, and we'll have all the notes from their championship run here as things unfold.
Folks have kind of stopped bowling. One, because they're done, and two, because they like to watch what's happening here.
Absolutely, even the beer cart guy has been planted behind lanes 11 and 12 here at the Baton Rouge River Center. Not because these guys are supporting the sponsors and drinking beer, but because he is mesmerized by the amount of strikes on the scoreboard. These guys are striking it up here in game number 3. Orlikowski closes things out with 224. And we'll take a look at Wissinger stepping up on the left lane. Started the day with 169. Now he's got the front 9 here in game 3. He's one of 3 non-champions on this pair. There it is. And he rings a 10-pin. Great shot, though.
Good shot, Nick.
Nick doing everything he can to get his name announced
I was just thinking
in the
that.
squad room. That's exactly where I was headed with that. He bowls with a very talented group, 7 champions out of 10. And another way to get your name announced is to shoot an honor score here. And, that was a great shot. So front 9 and 10 pin for Wissinger. Spare no problem.
Spare. It's been a great effort for Nick after his tough start. 169, 268, and a possible 279.
So we do appreciate everybody sticking with us. 350 strong at this point. These guys, big following in Michigan, I'm sure. Wissinger finishes with 278. Orlikowski, 670 to lead things off. Wissinger goes from 169 to 715 series, just like that. So I'm sure he'd like game number 1 back, 169, follows it up with 268, 278, but game 1, a grind out often. 715, and just like we talked about last year on a very high scoring lane condition. Matt Wiggins starts with 636, and then of course escapes with the all events title, so 715. A much better head start on a more challenging lane condition, so you cannot be upset about 715 no matter what. Mark Moore, the lone left-hander. Struggling a little bit. They're still having a solid day. Started the day with 158, but 226 in game 2. possible 213 in the finale. So he does look a little defeated and disappointed, but he's out there on his own, making something happen. And not a terrible day for the left-hander. He's gonna have some stuff to think about tonight. Finishes with 211.
He really had to be absolutely perfect almost every shot. They had no room to miss. If he got it just a board or two left of target, he was either leaving a bucket or some kind of combination like that, or slow 3-pin or something. 3-9, he left a couple times.
Saw a lot of great shots there, a lot of really solid strikes from him, but I still think he was a little too far right, and the pattern just too too much hook in the middle, too inconsistent. You miss left, it's going to hang. You miss right, it's going to overhook. As a left-hander, I recommend getting a little bit further left. And, of course, he can't hear me, and again, he's got the eagle next to his name. It's easy for me to backseat drive from up here in the booth. Kerry Kreft stepping up on the left. Good shot there. That ball holds nicely. It's a big double in the 10th.
Shot from Jason Lewis. Jay Lane's got a chance for 280. The anchor bowler for S&B 2.
So he's quietly been getting things done for his team today. 209 and 190.
It's our associate Kevin Alvarez. He's actually doing the double duty, working as a lane monitor tonight. So I'm throwing some bottles away. Hopefully he didn't drink them all himself. It's just a joke. Kevin actually worked last night, as a matter of fact. Another dedicated employee.
Oh, 50. Okay, I've had 3 beers. I've had 3 beers on the light case.
Looks like they'll come up just shy of 3,300 if Ewald can strike out. Crosses over and will take that one.
Because there's 20 extra
It's 30-51 to the left of us, Rock River Lanes. And 28-16 for the other Rock River Lanes team. Ewald leaves a 10-pin. So as Jay Lang gets ready to step up for a 280. Trips the 4 out of the 4-9, so bad break turns into a pretty good break. Ewald picks up the 10-pin. 11:45, 32-77. Take a look at the scoreboard as Jay Lang finishes things up. That is good for second place right now in the regular team event 34.01 on top, 32.77. So still yet to see anybody even shoot 3,300. Well, these guys will have a solid start for team all events tomorrow.
There's two sides of the coin. Those that make fun of and those that get made fun of. I just accept the fact that I'm one of those. Well, apparently I'm lower on the total ball.
32.77 and 30.23. So you gotta feel pretty good about that effort, especially this year. Scores are not quite as high. So second place regular team, and they're gonna pack things up as the 530 heads onto the lanes, and they're gonna talk things over. So I don't believe we're gonna catch up with anybody at this point in time. That's going to do it on another exciting day at the Open Championships. Or not. Robert Lawrence going down to see who's available. And we'll let Emil jump on with one of these guys, perhaps. Billy O, gonna pack things up and head our way. Looks like they're trying to get their picture taken or something. Sign some autographs. So I'm gonna do what I do, and Emil's gonna hang tight. He'll talk to you here for a couple minutes. All right, change of plans. Emil will be right back. He's going to grab the camera, go down there and take a picture. And then he'll be right back with you guys. So appreciate everybody joining us. We'll hang tight. We'll just talk a little bit more about the Open Championships while we have this opportunity and we wait for All right, before we check out for today, let's talk a little bit about the VIP program here at the USBC Open Championships. Of course, we have 60,000 VIPs, but if you want a little extra special treatment, you can find that on bowl.com/VIP. All kinds of goodies, including a 1-hour practice session with USBC Silver level coach Bill Hall, and front of the line service here at the Open Championships, VIP locker, VIP lounge, and so much more. And now, while we have this opportunity, Billy Orlikowski is going to join us in the booth. We're going to talk about today. Now, Billy, we talked earlier about strategy. We talked about how you guys were going to break them down. And tell us how it went out there.
Well, Matt, it went pretty good. You know, we watched the Brunswick team 1 and 2 first before, and it's kind of the guys I work with and everybody I bowl with. And I just thought they didn't break them down enough starting in practice. And so what I thought, you know, our strategy was stay a little bit farther right, a little bit stronger covers, break them down a little bit more. And boy, I tell you, we kind of struggled that first game because I think we broke them down too much, maybe with our higher rev rates. You know, and we were kind of guessing. We were talking to ourselves that first game, figuring out maybe we broke them down too much, or maybe it's our higher rev rates, or maybe it's machine number 1 because we've got, you know, there's 4 machines that do the lanes. So, and you know, I know they try to get them different. I know they try to keep them the same, but you know, there's topography difference, there's pair differences. There's those little things, but you know, their pairs were a little tighter. Our pairs hooked a little bit more, and I just think it's a little tricky out there, you know.
Well, the one thing you guys didn't do was panic. The first game did not go as well as you'd hoped, and we talked about that a lot. It's all about grinding out the first game, putting up an okay number, and you guys put up a pretty decent number, 980, 977, but then had a lot of work to do the rest of the way. Came back real strong, a couple 1100s, high 1100s, almost 12, and now you're second place, 3277. I mean, that's going to feel pretty good.
Yeah. You know, it'll feel a lot better after you know, a little dinner, maybe a Bud Light or 2 or something like that. But you know, right now it's a little bittersweet. But I'll tell you that 3,400 that, you know, Nicholas Pro Shop put up, that is a strong number. You know, there's some really good teams coming in the next couple of months, so we'll see how that holds up. You know, everything else went pretty well. You know, going back to, you know, our guys really never panic. There's so many good players on our team that we know somebody's going to get hot. We'll figure them out, and then we'll kind of just climb on the back of them, you know. I mean, you look at Nick Wissinger. I mean, shoots 169 or 168 the first game, comes back and shoots 250, 270. He should have had 300 that last game, but, you know.
Now, you guys, we talked a lot about how long you've all been together, and just to know that you have 10 steady guys coming every year, you don't have to worry about who's going to be here. But this is the first time in a few years that we've seen both teams together for the team event. Not sure what the strategy was there, breaking apart. I have some thoughts, but what's the reason for everybody coming back together? And obviously, it paid off.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, in years in the past, we've either left being in, you know, top 5 or maybe even, you know, second or third a couple years. This was really good for kind of both teams. We kind of kept to our strategy of playing together. You know, years in the past, we figure, hey, if we divide the teams, you know, we'll get paired with a companion team with not a high rev rate. We'll be able to break them down a little. They'll break down a little slower. You know, the way they broke down right now, they were breaking down pretty quick. We had to stay on top of the moves and keep moving. But then once we shelled down, it was pretty good. I think having the 2 teams worked a little bit better for us this year, just because of the shot and how we, you know, went about taking, looking at the lane a little differently.
Great. Now you guys watched some bowling prior to going out there today. You got to see the wife and some friends bowl doubles and singles earlier today. I imagine that helped immensely as far as information. Now you've had a chance to bowl on the lanes a little bit. You saw them break down. You saw how you finished in team. Now, team all events, you guys have a pretty solid head start. That number, 97.44.
Right.
You guys at 277 over at this point. Any thoughts heading into tomorrow?
Well, I think it's kind of, I don't want to really say a crapshoot, but, you know, it just depends. We're going to bowl the 1140 squad, which normally we change things up there, too. Normally we bowl after a team event, and we kind of sit and watch where that team's playing. But, you know, we've been snake bit the few last, I don't know, 2-3 years where you get some teams that play all over the place, and it really keeps the pattern flat. We figure at 1140, that squad, they'll have some good play in them, and we'll just figure out where we go from there.
There you have it, folks. Billy Orlikowski checking in from S&B Pro Shop. These guys, 32.77 today, moved into second place. A big head start on tomorrow, and that's that. So that's going to do it from the Baton Rouge River Center today for Matt Cannizzaro, Emil Williams Jr., and Billy Orlikowski. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time, April 16th. Matt Wagon, defending regular singles and all events champ. See you on the lanes. That's the news for now.